So I want to ask you about this lawsuit that you filed earlier this year. You were allegedly a victim of a so-called police brutality, right? And tell us about that.
Sure, sure. So I, at that time, was living in Southwest Michigan in a town called St. Joseph. And I was driving a friend home on April 10th, very early in the morning at 3 a.m. And as I was approaching my friend's home, we noticed the emergency lights come on from the Michigan State Police squad car and pulled over compliantly. And from that point on, it was just an evening of escalation after escalation, driven by those police, and not by nothing that my friend and I did in the interaction. So the police accused me initially of some traffic violations, which I denied, and the dash cam video confirms that I followed all traffic laws. Then I was accused of smelling of alcohol in my breath. And of course, I took 3 blood tests and never had any alcohol in my system at all. Then the troopers accused me of driving under the influence of drugs, in particular marijuana. And of course, I don't drive or use marijuana and drive under the influence of any drugs. So that also came back negative. And I spent 30 to 40 minutes doing sobriety tests in the cold in my pajamas. Um, I even passed the first blood test that they took me to after handcuffing me at the local hospital, passed it on site, and they still jailed me.
Amazing. So you were driving your car in your pajamas? When did you?
Yes. Hmm.
Why
It
were
was
you driving a car in pajamas? Yeah.
well, it was 3 a.m. It was 3 a.m. and I was dropping a friend off at his house, and I was just going to go home and go back to my house and go to sleep. So
Oh, I see.
um, he, he happened to work in healthcare, and he works really early in the morning, and so just wanted to drop him off. But I always replay the scenarios in my mind, like what could I have done differently, and um, why did it happen to me? And like you just asked a very great question, Jesse, pajamas. Now that this experience has happened to me, this lived experience, I may be averse to running a quick errand in my pajamas, right? Because I don't know if I'm going to get back to my house. One of the things that I felt the most, I guess, nervous about during the interaction was my dog. I was very lucky that night that my dog was in daycare and was able to stay in daycare while I was incarcerated. But normally I would leave my dog at home, run a quick errand, and come back home. So, yeah, there are all these things that can happen when you're taken by the police.
And why did the police stop you? What was the reason?
So, specifically, they alleged that I was running red lights, 2 in particular. And all the dash cam videos proven that to be incorrect.
And so that wasn't unusual for cops to stop people and say that, oh, you ran a light or your tail light is out, and then they search your car, they search you, and they find out, okay, you can go now. You have no whatever, right? That wasn't an unusual thing, right?
Well, I've never been pulled over like that. So 42 years, 20 plus years of driving, I've never had an interaction like that in my life. I kind of just knew what you see on TV. And I thought that by being compliant and agreeable and by submitting to the voluntary sobriety test in the cold in my pajamas, that I would prove myself innocent and that I was not under any influence. But that was not good enough for them. Even going in handcuffs to the hospital, immediately I passed the blood test. That was not good enough. So they jailed me. And in the booking process, they scanned my body and noticed what they called an anomaly. And from there, the trooper escalated again and alleged that I had swallowed narcotics and that there were narcotics in my stomach. And I was required to go to the restroom publicly in that facility.
So you were required to go to the restroom in the jailhouse, and it was open area or something?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I see. And was that a bad thing?
Well, it was humiliating, traumatizing. Um, I certainly believe the police think it's bad because they're suppressing the video.
Oh, really?
And we have been fighting for the FOIA release for 6 months. We were just lucky to get one relatively clean video that has managed to go viral. And I believe that's the one you saw, Jesse.
Yeah.
But there is so much horror from that night that the police are suppressing unlawfully.
And were these two white cops? Because I saw what looked like one of the cops was black. The police were black, right? One white and
Yeah,
one
so
black. And
yeah,
so,
so one is black and one is white. So the white officer is Trooper George Kenya. I would say he's the ringleader.
was he the
And then
white
the
one or the
second,
black one?
he's the white one.
Okay.
Then the black cop, Matthew Okai, was fully complicit in the whole interaction. So after 6 months of fighting for the FOIA release, we got the video. And what I did is I shared a link to my Google Drive to my closest friends, and I said, "Look at this video. Tell me what you see," because it's helpful to have everyone looking. Everyone's looking for different things and hearing different things. And maybe 2 hours after sending the link out, one of my closest friends, in fact, he is the individual that came and picked me up to get my car back the next day, called me in a panic and said, "I need you to go to 3:25 a.m. and listen to the interaction there." And what you see is the lead trooper, the white officer, George Kenya, rifling through his squad car. He's looking at the side panel. He's in the back of the car, the back seat, the trunk, looking through boxes. And it's something I would have ignored because I was more focused on the interactions with me directly. And then the black trooper comes around to the back of the car at about 3:27 and asks him, "Drugs?" And then Trooper George Canyon replies, "I don't think I have any. I had a stash in here. I don't know where it's at." He's going to refuse anyway. And then that's when they decided to only charge me with drugs and alcohol.
I see. And so, because there were black cops, a police officer with the white police officer, you don't believe that it was a race thing or anything. It was just bad work, right?
No, it's absolutely a racially profiled stop. So
And how can it be if they
undeniably.
had a black cop there too?
Yeah. So I think in 2024, racism is very different from how we maybe perceived it 10, 15, 20 years ago. So this is the beauty of receiving access to the video. Before they even stopped me, Jesse, in the dash cam, not the body cam, the dash cam, we can see both troopers making fun of my African name. Trooper Okai, the black officer, pronounces my name with this very exaggerated, ridiculous, humiliating accent.
Maybe it was just hard to
Yes.
pronounce it. The same problem I had with it. It's
No,
not
no,
an
no.
everyday
It was quite
name.
intentional. True, true, but it was very intentional. It was said in a comical, humiliating manner, and I'm happy to share that video with you too. Then Trooper Kenya, the white officer, starts calling me Dakarai. Dakarai, Dakarai, Dakarai. Have you been drinking daiquiris?
Amazing. And so, but I'm under the impression that, and I've been told over and over again that black people are not racist. And you are black, so why would you think that the black cop would be racist along with the white cop?
hmm Yeah, so I've heard that argument that black folks cannot be racist, and some people say if you um, are not part of the racial power that stands, you cannot, for example, participate in racism. And that's 100% false. So people do things for many different reasons. They can prop up racist systems for their personal gain. And I've had this experience both from a policing incident where Trooper Matthew Okai, for his personal survival and for his career growth within Michigan State Police, harasses Black people. So my incident was April 10th. I've since been contacted by numerous residents of that town in that vicinity that have had similar experiences. And one individual said Matthew Okai, the Black trooper, ran the same routine on her on September 3rd. So we're talking about 2 months ago. He was out there doing the exact same thing. So gaslighting the individual Black woman, making her believe that she was intoxicated, putting her through endless sobriety tests. Coincidentally, it happened at 3 a.m. So they are specifically targeting Black individuals in this town that's about 85% Black and quite impoverished, and individuals who cannot then fight back and use the legal system to protect themselves.
And what town is this again?
What's that?
What town is this?
Benton Harbor, Michigan.
Oh, okay. And so you do believe that Black people can be racist as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then I was just going to give you an example from my corporate experience. So I've spent 20 years in corporate America rising through the ranks. And I think some of the most challenging individuals I've dealt with, frankly, were minorities and Black people in HR. And why is that? Because these individuals get their power through, again, propping up a racist, white supremacist organization structure and a patriarchal structure. So these are the same individuals that run sham investigations that never find any wrongdoing for the harassers, who typically are from the majority class. Okay. So that's been my lived experience.